Hi, John here in the wood shop. We're talking today about making salt and pepper shakers. These are a 12-sided form, and we want to do a quick video on how to cut that from square blanks. So in our order of operations, at this point you would have your squares already cut and drilled for there's a tube that goes inside, and this is counterboard for the plug that goes in the bottom. So we have to get from this to At this point, we're just ripping this 12-sided. So, introduction to the jig. It's just a simple scrap wood, mostly made out of plywood, that will hold your workpiece, both workpieces, as you're cutting. So, what we're doing is we have a blade tipped at 30 degrees. We're going to make a pass, turn the jig around, make a second pass, and then take the workpieces back out of the jig, flip them, and keep cutting. A couple of marks on, I put it on the maple one so you could see a little bit better. And maybe we can go like that. The diagonal corner to corner was just marking center. And that was for drilling my hole. And then I have these dashes all the way around. You could do this on both sides to kind of keep track of how the cutting is going as you do this process. And what I'm aiming for is about a ½ an inch space right there. So when this gets done, this will be left, this will be left, this and this, but then these corners will have two cuts on it, a cut here and a cut here to get to that 12-sided form. We have our workpieces in the jig for our first cut, and you can probably see from this angle even better how the jig itself does not ride up on the fence. It's the actual workpieces. I will tell you, I've ran into one problem that you just want to double check, that your workpieces are the exact same dimension as far as width and thickness. I did this one time where it was less than a 1/16 off between the maple blank and the walnut blank. And it just threw everything off because one is a little bit bigger. Also, when they're the exact same size, you get a lot better purchase when it comes time to clamp this in place. So here I have it clamped in place, and you can see on the maple blank my layout lines. When I slide this up to the blade to set this initially, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to hit the inside of the blade with this mark right here. Now I've done a couple test cuts, and I have my fence set up exactly where I want it, and I shouldn't do this, but I will, is actually move it, and then we'll never get it back on place. So I'm going to actually move it out a little bit just to start out. So as you cut, the further you move this in, the smaller your blank is going to get. So I want to start a little bit off, and we're going to take a test cut and see if we can't sneak up on that edge right there. So how'd we do? Well, you can see, and I knew from my setting on the fence that I would be way off. So now I'm just going to move it in a little bit and see if we can't sneak up on that point. So I'm going to go just a little bit more, and actually I'm going to start cutting from here. I know I'm going to be really close to the line. I want to leave the line. I don't want to cut over it at this point. If I get done and I find out that my sides are a little bit off, it's always best to be over than under, because I could go back and shave those off again. So I'm going to be happy about right here. I know that this is actually just a little under ½ inch. From when I marked it out. So I think I'm going to be happy from here. I'm going to make this cut, and then I'm going to actually flip this around and cut this face. Then we have to take things apart and flip our work pieces. So we have those faces cut. What I'm going to do is actually flip this over. So it was riding like this. I'm going to flip it over so my top is now the bottom. And I always check to see, sometimes you will get a little sawdust inside your jig that can push things apart. Usually when I tighten this, what I'm doing is pushing it up against the fence, trying to get all the pieces nice and tight. If you have a gap, a big gap in here, it can throw off your angles. Okay, now, so we have flipped this top for bottom. If I flip it top for bottom again, all I'm going to do is cut that the same bevel I've been cutting. So what I'm going to do at this point is rotate both of the work pieces 90 degrees so that what is facing me on top is flat and everything down is beveled. So now I'm going to flip these side to side, keeping that face down. Lock that in place. Oh, I'm going to have to take this out to see how we're doing. I'm pretty happy with that. It's within about a 30-second. I have one piece, and I don't know if it's can be seen on the camera. I have one corner here that is a little bit off. It didn't cut quite as deep as it needed to, because I see on the back side it looks even. Here it looks a little bit shallow, which means that something has probably shifted while I was cutting this. So I'm going to go back through and take one more run at seeing if I can clean that up. Sometimes this is more trouble than it's worth, and you can start creating more errors than you're fixing, but we'll see. There we go. Yeah, there we go. That cleaned it up. So what probably happened on that is, as I was cutting, maybe it opened up in the jig a little bit. Maybe it was how I was pushing it. If I could put pressure and rock the jig as well. So it just helps to kind of double check yourself. So we have half of these cut. So the one half has 6 facets to it, and now we have to do the other side. So just starting out, before, when I was finishing this off, the flats were up towards me. Now I'm going to put the flat side down. Make sure that's locked in. Now I'm going to turn them side to side. Once you have multiple facets on this, the one problem you can get into, and let's see if I can recreate it, is you could set this on a flat. Notice on the walnut workpiece, it has a flat surface right on the side of the jig. Here we have a corner on the jig. So if you get kind of get ahead of yourself, you could put that on, and when you make the cut, it's going to ruin your day. So towards the end here, that's where you really want to get diligent on making sure you have a flat against your jig and you're cutting it right. So now to finish this off, I'm going to rotate these 90 degrees. That should be right. Get that locked in place. Now I have to flip them top for bottom. That's right. These last cuts you do have to kind of double check yourself. Okay, that should be correct. Let's hold that up and look. So when I cut that through, that'll cut that last little piece. Let's double check that side. Yep, that'll cut that last little piece. So just double check here on my layout lines. I have two little pieces that don't quite hit the lines. I'm going to go back through and clean those up. That's our start to that, and that's how to cut those 12 sides.